Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On this episode, we are going to cover my 2023 Chevy 1500 Trail Boss Edition in the custom trim level right after this. All right guys, so to get to the review part of this video, you guys are going to want to fast forward. If you don't want to listen to the beginning of this and how I got here, etc., just fast forward to this part right here. But if you guys want to understand where I'm coming from, what I'm about, if you haven't been to my channel before, then stick along for this whole video. All the accessories that are on this truck, I have other videos on this, on all the accessories on my truck that I've covered in detail as well, but we'll kind of briefly cover what's on here as we go through the review of this video. I'm not your typical YouTuber who does truck reviews. The only reason I'm doing truck reviews is because it's a piece of equipment. Sorry if there's a plane going over if you hear that. It's a piece of equipment that I use to do kayak fishing and also camping. Now, it's how I get there. That's how I get home. So it's a piece of equipment that I use to do my fishing and camping. So it is part of my gear reviews. Now, previously, I would have done another review on my previous truck, but I had a Chevy 1500 LT with the baby Duramax. I had that for about 9 months. I had nothing but issues with it, not with the motor, but with all the EPA after accessories that they have to put on there to make them EPA compliant with the DEF injectors, the particular filters, all the stuff that comes along with diesels. And I also want you guys to know, I'm not bashing other people who do YouTube videos, reviews on vehicles and stuff like that, and they just have them for a day or so from a dealership, or like for half an hour to do a film and take them around the block and give you their opinion and read some specs off the internet. I'm somebody who has owned every half-ton vehicle, every three-quarter-ton vehicle that's out there that's sold in the United States. So I got lots of experiences with every engine, every make and model that's out here in America. This is my 15th truck in 25 years. So I do change my vehicles quite a bit because I do drive quite a bit. So I do have knowledge of what's out there, what works the best for me, what I've had issues with, and all that. I used to be a Ford fanboy, and before the baby Duramax, I've had other Chevys, but three-quarter tons. I wanted to give Chevy a try for the half-ton market, and I was never a big fan of the Chevy half-tons because they sit so low. But with the Trail Boss Edition, which I have the no lettering on there that says Trail Boss, I actually removed it because I'm not going to advertise for them, I'm going to advertise for me. With the Trail Boss Edition, you have that additional 2-inch lift, so it keeps you off the ground. It looks more like a truck, and I'm not so worried about fuel economy as much as others may be, and that's how they're making the half-ton segment this day, is all about fuel economy. So with the additional 2 inches of lift, it makes it nice. And sorry about the mud. It's not purposely done for this video, but I was going to shoot this video in a field, and I started getting stuck, and I was actually starting to panic a little bit, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to get stuck in the middle of a field to go shoot this video, and I'm going to have to get towed out. Well, I got out. So that's one thing I will say about this truck, that it does handle being off-road pretty good. The stock tires that are on here are the Goodyear MT Territories that comes with this. They've been holding up pretty well, and they do get me out of stuck situations like it just did. We've been having a lot of rain down here, so that's the reason why I was getting stuck, but I wasn't expecting the field to be that wet and me to start sinking. Anywho, so I do have a lot of experience with all the trucks that are out there. Most of the trucks that are out there I haven't had too many issues with. Some brands have had more issues than others. So usually when I have an issue with a vehicle, I usually get rid of it, so I don't have to deal with that issue and being down, a week or two, etc. I do have experiences with trucks, so I'm not that guy who just, reviews it for a day. So this is a 1-year review, and let's get into the truck itself now, where I'm at with this. So this is a 2023. I bought it this time last year, the day that this video is coming out. That's why I want to put it out in this day. I bought this 1 year ago to date as a leftover. So I got a little bit of a better discount on this that was on the lot. And what made it a good deal too is that it has the longer bed. I'm a bigger fan of the longer beds. That's why I usually like 3/4 tons, because you usually get a bigger bed, either the the longer 6.5 foot bed or the 8 foot bed. Now, one good thing about Chevy's beds is that this is like 6'8", and I know that the 2500s are 6 foot 10 inches long for their bed, and even their cabs are a little bit bigger than the 1500s. It's not like Ford where they keep the half ton and the Super Duty cab pretty much the same. They just change everything else as far as room. So I do like that Chevy has the bigger beds. The vehicle itself is a 2023, like I said, 1500 Chevy Trail Boss Edition, the custom trim level. And the reason why I went with the custom trim level because I previously had the LT with the bigger screen and stuff, is that I like simplicity. All I need to do is have the vehicle get me from point A to point B, have a backup camera, and do truck things that I needed to do. This has the 5.3 gas motor. That was one of the other reasons why I was never a big fan of the Chevy half tons, because I'm not a big fan of the 5.3. I'm not a big fan of the 6.2. After that diesel, after that baby Duramax, that was my favorite half-ton vehicle engine to date. I says, you know what, let me just give the gas a try. Now, I know the 5.3 and the 6.2 currently, and still does, have lifter issues. And, you know, Ford says that they are the #1 selling vehicle on the market, their F-Series. That is not true. See, GM and Chevy separate their sales. So if you combine Chevy Silverado and the GMC Sierra together, they actually sell more 1500s than the F-150. Of course, everybody has to have exhaust down here and do it when I'm filming. So GM sells more half-ton trucks than Ford does. So there's a lot more of these vehicles on the road, so you're going to hear more of the complaints, and that's what you usually hear more of, is the complaints than the good. So being that said, you are going to hear more issues possibly with the Chevy over the Ford. Now listen, Ford has more recalls on their vehicles, and I can say that as a fact because I've owned so many Fords. They have more recalls than any other vehicle I've ever owned. Not bashing Ford, because I've owned Ford. I may go back to Ford one day, but like I said, I'm not a fanboy anymore. I'm just a fan of something that works and gets me there. So you're going to hear more about these lifter issues on these 5.3s and 6.2s, and you will say problems with the EcoBoost. Now, every market, every manufacturer today, unfortunately, they all have issues. It's kind of sad. So in my opinion, if you are going to buy a new vehicle and you plan on keeping it long term, I would look at a good third-party warranty. I would also look at the warranty that is offered at the dealership. Now, they're pricey, but if you're going to keep it, it's worth it. Now, you know, your powertrain's covered on these vehicles for 5 years, 60,000, and bumper to bumper 3 years, 36. Now, remember, your powertrain warranty doesn't cover everything that's attached to the engine. It is really the engine itself, the transmission, and a few odds and ends of certain parts that are attached to that engine that's covered under the powertrain. Overall, we're going to go through my likes and dislikes of this vehicle, and at the end of this video, I want you guys to drop some comments, and also comment on this video if I mess up with anything and say something wrong. Just correct me in the comments, please. But at the end of this video, I also want to get your opinion. What do you think I should do next? I'm going to keep this vehicle for probably another year, and I will do a 2-year review on this as well, or if I have any problems along the way. Tell me what you guys think I should buy next. I'm going to throw a couple options out there and see what you think. Let's really get into the review now. I told you at the beginning of this video, if you want to get to this point, fast forward to this part now, so let's get into it. So we're going to repeat ourselves. This is a Chevy 1500 custom Trail Boss. So it's the custom trim of the Trail Boss. It's got the 5.3 motor, and it's got the extended bed onto the 6.5 foot bed. So we're going to do a walk around here, and I'm going to go over a few things with you as far as the detail look up close. So we'll start here at the back. You can see I got a Yakima rack on here and a top water box on both sides, and I got some Milwaukee pack-out boxes. But overall, I like the look of this vehicle. This is the dark ash color, so it's really like in the, you know, cloudy days like this, sometimes it's going to look black, but it's really just a dark blue. Dark ash to me would be almost like a gray color, but this is a really dark blue, and it looks black most of the time, especially when it's dark out. So a lot of people think I have a black vehicle. But overall, the custom trim model doesn't give you any LED lights. It doesn't give you any of that. And one thing I do want to point out, see the scratch there and how my bumper is pushed in? Yeah, somebody hit me while I was parked, but at least they were nice enough to stop, so I'm dealing with that. So I do have to change my bumper and this front fascia piece here. It was a delivery guy while my truck was parked, but at least it was nice enough that he actually called the cops for us. But anyway, so it's got the nice, to me, I like the custom, you know, if you want to go for that darker look, that blackout, having the black bumper and not being an LT model, you don't get any chrome, so it's just a black plastic. You know, you could say it's a more of the inexpensive look, but I actually like the way that looks with the black bumper. And you can get your red tow hooks there. Now they do have blackout packages for these Trail Bosses where you can actually get black tow hooks and everything is blacked out. But it's got halogen headlights, no LEDs, not a big deal, because I've added a few myself for fog lights, which is from Rigid Industries, which I've been using now for about 7-8 years, maybe even longer on all my vehicles. I always add them even if I do have LED lights, just to give me a little bit more lights. But you know, it's got the 18s. It doesn't have the 20s, which I prefer. I like the 18s that have more sidewall and protecting my rim. It does have the high clearance steps from Chevy that was actually on the vehicle when I purchased it. If I did have to buy, or if I was going to buy steps aftermarket, I would probably still get the Chevy ones, because the way these sit on this truck, they sit up so tight and close that it looks like the truck, you know, is off the ground like the way a truck should look. But overall, this vehicle, the color of it, I do like the color, but next time I am going to go white with the black, because I actually just got something coming up here that I kind of want to match. But overall, you can see It's a beautiful looking truck. I have no complaints about the look of it. I do like the Trail Boss version, so does my wife. I do have the deck drawers in there. I got plenty of videos on all this stuff you see on my truck, numerous videos of all this equipment that I have as an add-on to this truck. One other thing I'm going to talk about before we get into the rest of the review of this is I do have the Sumo springs on this, and I'm going to try to get you in here so you can see. You can see those black, like almost looks like airbags. What those are is they replace your factory bump stops, and they sit right on the axle to support the weight of this truck, because if I didn't have those Sumo springs on here, this truck would be sagging more. So it still gives me a little bit of a rake. It has dropped about 3/4 of an inch because I do have about 500 pounds of weight in this truck. So without that, this truck would be sitting pretty much level. I do like having a little bit of a rake to the truck still for two reasons. A, I tow a lot. So once I add the trailer on there, I don't want it to be sagging that my headlights are blinding people. So I usually add the Sumo springs to most of my vehicles that I do own, especially half tons, to help support the weight of all the stuff I do and when I'm towing. That's it though. As far as accessories, I got the deck box, the top water boxes from Yakima, which holds my fishing rods, the Yakima rack. I got the Molly panels where I mounted the backing plates of Milwaukee packouts, and I got the LED lights. But overall, this vehicle has been holding out well for me mechanically, which I'm super happy with, and that's almost unheard of. Now, my neighbor has the exact same motor as this, the 5.3. It's the same, I think he's a 2022 maybe, and he's only got 30,000 miles on it, and he had lifter issues. So he's been dealing with it, and I think his truck is back now. He had the lifter issue at, I think, like 14,000 miles or something like that. They said they fixed it, and then he went back around 30,000 and had the same issue. So he lost his truck for about 4 weeks due to that lifter issue. So that problem is still out there. That problem still persists. That was another reason why I didn't want to try the 5.3 gas. But after having that diesel thing, you know, right now a half ton still works for me, but I don't know what the future is going to hold. So I was like, let me try the 5.3 no matter what, because like I said, they sell more vehicles than Ford as far as trucks, so you are going to have more problems out there that you hear of. Not every 1500 5.3 or 6.2 motors is going to have a lifter issue. That is one of my first likes of this vehicle. I've had no mechanical issues with it. I had one check engine light come on, and I knew I was going to had a problem when I hit the remote start and it wouldn't start. I had that problem when I had the 1500 diesel. When your remote start doesn't work, that usually means that there's a problem. So you have to go into the truck, manually hit the, you know, the start stop button, and it'll start up, but then the check engine light comes on. So I'm like, here I go again. I just had the previous 1500. Am I going to have more issues with this one? And I was getting like mindset already. All right, that's it. I'm going to get rid of it. So I took it to the dealership, trying to stay positive this time. And when I got there, they ran the code. They came out about 15 minutes later and says, you have 6 codes related to your brakes. Something with the module, this and that. I'm like, okay. So I have had no problems with the brakes. Let me know. So they've had it for about another 45 minutes. Comes back out. The service rep said to me, we need your truck for about 2 hours. We're going to do some software updates, and we're going to overlook everything, and we're going to check your brakes. We're going to do everything. I says, fine. So I sat there for about 2 hours. They came out to me, says, we found nothing. The tech cleared the codes, and that was it. So nobody knew what was wrong. That's the problem with today's vehicles. They're all computer driven, and one little sensor could throw something off and throw that check engine light on. It drove fine. I had no problems. So I was like, okay, whatever. And that was around probably about 6 months ago, and I've had this truck for a year. It hasn't been on since. I've had no problems since, no other check engine lights. So besides that, which is really nothing, obviously, it was just a fluke thing. I've had one recall that they had to do a software update on. I got that done at one of my oil changes, not a big deal. You know, all this stuff today, you have, there's recalls on everything, but it's all like little like software thing issues where they reset things and redo things. So I've had no mechanical issues with this. This truck itself right now, we'll take you inside real quick to show you the mileage. I drive a lot. So after 1 year of ownership, if it comes on, if you can see it there, I got 25,658 miles. That is in 1 year. So that is a lot of mileage. So as you can see, I've put it through a good review on the first year. I've driven it a lot. I've taken it off-road on purpose or by accident like today. So overall, I do not have any dislikes about this truck. We'll show you the inside too, how it's holding up. I'm super happy so far that I'm one of the lucky ones so far, because I've heard lifter issues around 50,000. I've heard lifter issues around 80,000. I'm lucky so far after 1 year that I've had no mechanical issues, and I'm super happy about that, because every other vehicle I've owned over the past 10 years, everyone has had issues. It just makes me want to get rid of it and have somebody else deal with it. I just don't have the patience for it. So it's been performing well. Now, I have 355 horsepower, 383 pounds of torque. To me, one of my dislikes, I think it's a little underpowered for what the motor is. I know I could got the 6.2, but if I'm going to run premium gas in the 6.2, I might as well just run on a diesel. In my opinion, to me, you still get more torque out of that diesel than you do the 6.2. But I'm not a big fan of having to spend on premium gas to run a gas motor. You know, one good thing about Ford, even though they're supercharged and everything else and their EcoBoost, they can still run on regular gas. I think it's underpowered, but I know Chevy does that for a reason most of the time, because they don't want to push the engines like other manufacturers do, and it does make them last longer. Now, you know, if you do have a lifter issues with one of these trucks, you can change the lifters, pop the head gaskets off, you know, the head gaskets and the head itself, and, you know, replace the lifters. Not a big deal. It's just an inconvenience, since nobody wants to go through all that. So, you know, overall, you can just change the lifters if you want to keep this long term, but I would get the extended warranty. So to me, it's been a great vehicle and I like it so far. The only dislikes I would say is that it's underpowered, but I knew what I was getting into getting this. I wanted to try it. I'm not drag racing, but having a little bit more power for towing would be great. But I'm glad that they keep these things underpowered to make them last and not push those engines, which is a good thing, because there's a lot of ones out there that have a lot of ton of miles on them that are still on the road. So under the hood, I'm sure there's a ton of videos out there with the 5.3, but it just looks like your typical 5.3. I've done no modifications to this mechanically. You got some wiring up here that I added for my lights that I have in the front and also on the back ladder rack. I changed the air filters myself. Only thing I get done is just oil changes on this. I have rotated the tires once. Probably the only time I rotate the tires, because if your tires are balanced right and your alignment's right, you don't have to rotate your tires every 7,000 miles, 10,000 like they tell you at the dealership. It's just a money maker. And yes, they will last longer, but you don't have to take my tires off every time I change the oil. So I rotated the tires once, like I said, probably the last time I change them. Now, if I keep this a little bit longer than the 2-year mark, then I may have to put some tires on it. It's been a great vehicle, so I can't complain about it. This is one of those vehicles that you're not going to hear a lot of complaints, which is a good thing, because all you usually do is hear the videos or see the videos on YouTube where somebody's having the problems and it blows up and everybody starts dropping the comments saying how horrible Chevy is, how horrible the 5.3 is, because that's the only time you're going to hear a lot of videos or see a lot of videos is when there's problems. This is a good review. Like I said, the only dislike I have about this truck so far is that I just think it's underpowered, but I knew I was getting into that. It's not like super underpowered, it will move, but just towing, it's just, I just like having the engine being a little bit more relaxed. Everything, sorry about the mess, I didn't have a chance to clean this because of the weather, and I'm glad I didn't because I just got stuck. But we'll open up all the doors here. You know, a lot of people say also too that the interior of the Chevys are outdated. Like I said, the previous one I had to this, the LT diesel, I had the newer interior. Was it nice? Of course it looks nice. I had leather in it and all that stuff, and I didn't care for the leather seats. That's also another reason why I wanted to change that truck, because the leather seats, for some reason, Chevy's leather seats are super hard. These cloth seats, you can see, I try to keep my truck pretty clean, not a lot of stuff in it. These cloth seats have been holding up great, but the leather seats on the Chevys are just, they suck. That's all I can say. They're great looking, but they are hard as a rock. I don't mind the small screen that you have in this. I don't mind just the simplicity, the buttons. To me, I like simplicity. It has a rear view camera that works just fine. There's plenty of videos out there. I'm not going to start this truck and show you the camera. There's a lot of videos out there that shows you the Chevy rear view camera. It's clear. For a small screen, you can see everything. It has an outlet in here, 120 volt outlet, which works good when I want to charge some of my batteries while I'm on the fly. But one thing I will say over the cab, I guess you could say this is a little bit of a dislike, is the interior cab itself is a little small. I know the 2500s, like I said previously, are a little bit bigger interior. So, you know, it works. My son's only 6 years old, so it does work. But I know my previous trucks I've had in the past had a bigger rear seat, but this is doable. You know, it's got the foldable seat. This pops up here, so you get your 40-60 split. So you can have a flat folding floor, no problem. I like the simplicity of this truck. You can see my side here where my butt sits for a lot of hours already. I think this is what it showed on there, almost 700 engine hours. It's pushed down a little bit. You can see a little bit here of, you know, pushing down on that, but that's what you expect. I mean, I already got 700 hours in the seat almost, and almost 26,000 miles on this in a year. It's held up great. The tires have been holding out pretty good. I will say I probably used about maybe 40 to 50% of the tread life. So that makes out that, you know, these tires will last me for 50,000. I probably won't make them that long before I change them if I keep it. You know, I like the look of it. I like having the 2-inch lift over just a standard 1500s. It makes it look more like a truck. And I like the longer bed. So with that being said, I don't know what I'm going to get next. My plan is, after this vehicle, if I do get rid of it next year, I'm going to keep the next one for 4 years. Then after that, I'm going to keep that next one after that for 5 years. That'll be the 2 almost longest vehicles I've kept. Because my plan is that second vehicle after this, I plan on giving to my son. It's a vehicle that will be used, but you know, it's well maintained by me, and I know what's been involved with the vehicle. So I feel comfortable giving that to my son. So that's what my plan is. So what am I going to get next? I don't know. I'm back and forth, guys, and that's where I need your help. I'm thinking about getting another Trail Boss, but probably with the, I hate to say this, with the baby Duramax. And I'm gonna give it one more shot if I go that route. I would get the exact same thing, the custom trim level. I would get the longer bed, but I would get the Duramax just because it's almost 500 pounds of torque. It's a lot, almost over 100 more pounds of torque than this. And that's what I need for towing. I don't need to go fast. I just need a little bit more torque. Or I'm gonna try the 3/4 ton 6.6 gas engine, which I have not owned yet. And for the most part, it's been pretty, from what I've seen going around, not too many issues. Some people say it eats oil. They say this eats oil. They said my diesel eats oil. Both the diesel and this one, I've had no problems with the oil consumption on this vehicle. And I know that goes around too as well. But I also check my oil every probably 1,000, 1,500 miles. I do check my oil just to keep an eye on it. And it hasn't moved. I have no, engine oil loss in either this or the diesel in the past, which has been great. So that's where I'm at, guys. The next vehicle, I don't know if I'm going to stick with the 1500, and I don't know if I'm going to go the 2500 route. It will be nice. It would be nice having a little bit bigger cab with the 2500, having a little bit bigger bed. What would you get? Would you get the baby Duramax, or would you get the 6.6 gas? Now I know the 6.6 gas has more horsepower and torque than this truck here, but it's also heavier, so it'll probably equal out. But having a little bit more weight in front of that trailer would actually still tow it a little bit easier. Having the 1500, even with the diesel and paying more for diesel, it's still more economically better to run than having a gas 2500, or it'd equal out. It'd pretty much be the same for what I spend on gas for the 3/4 ton, or what I spend on diesel and all that stuff, and the maintenance and the oil changes being a little bit more. That's where I need your help. What do you guys think I should get next? Either way, I think I'm sticking with Chevy for now. What's your comments? What do you think? Would you buy what's your thoughts? Would you like the 1500 ride quality, the 2500 over the 2500, even though the 2500 Chevy's not bad? Should I try a different brand again? Should I go back to Ford? I don't know. Ford, see, the thing with Ford is the Ford F-150 and the Chevy 1500 pretty much had the same transmission. They were like a joint effort to make that transmission and design it. But for some reason, when I had the EcoBoost Ford with this 10-speed, it was a lot more clunkier because it skips gears. Now you're in tow mode. It goes from like 1, 3, 5, sometimes 6, 7, then 8, 9, 10. This goes through every gear. They say that the Chevy transmissions on the half tons are smoother because of the fluid that they use, the transmission fluid. Go figure, if fluid makes that much difference, but it does. I know we have quite a few 2500s at work, and everybody says that, and it's the newer ones with the gas, say that their transmissions are super smooth, even with our guys beating them up. So I don't know, guys. This has been a great truck so far, so don't look at every video you see out there saying that the 5.3 motors are bad, the 6.2s, Chevys are bad. They're not all bad, guys. You're just seeing more of the videos with the bad ones, which you're gonna have. With having more Chevy and GMC Sierras on the road than the Chevy Silverados, you are gonna have more lifter issues. You're going to see more of those videos. So that's it, guys. I'm going to stop it there. I think I rattled enough. There wasn't a super lot to cover with this truck. Basically, I am going to have this vehicle definitely for another year. So I will do another video after 1 year. If I do have an issue before that 1 year, I will also do another video telling you what issue I had. Crossing my fingers, I don't have a lifter issue. If I do, it's gone. So if you guys are on the market for a Chevy 1500 Trail Boss, or just a Chevy 1500 with the 5.3, I've been happy with it. No mechanical issues. Would I buy another one? No, just because I want a little bit more power. The 5.3, like I said, is fine. I just wouldn't buy another one with a 5.3. Maybe I would give the 6.2 gas one a shot. But if I had to choose on the 1500s, it's either going to be the diesel or nothing at all. So that's it, guys. I'm going to stop it there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you maybe make a decision. If you guys have any questions, any comments, please drop them in the comments. If you guys have any questions about the gear that's on my truck, let me know. But I do have videos across my platform of all the stuff I have on this vehicle. And that is it, guys. Until next time, be safe on the water, and I'll catch you in the water. And I hope this video helped you guys. See you soon.